hashtag Locker Room 981. In addition to this, we're streaming live on YouTube. So please join us on YouTube. You can go to YouTube and search for Smooth 98.1.
Australian world number one Ashley Barty will donate all her prize money from the Brisbane International to the Bushfire Relief Fund. The event offers a pot of 1.43 million. Yeah,
Yeah.
1.43 million Australian dollars. I had to correct the amount because it's a lot. Actually, she said, I quote, there are a lot of bigger things going on in Australia right now that we need to take care of. It's been really terrible. It really has. For me, this started 2 or 3 months ago. We have to remember this has been going on for a long time across our country. The first I saw of it was actually flying home from the Federation Cup final in November from Perth back to the east coast of Australia, and we could see some of the smoke and some of the fires from the plane. So that really hit home for me.
Yes, it's literally her home. So this is a personal one for her. So far, I heard 24 people have died, and
Hmm.
the bushfires are not getting any better because of the windy conditions and the
And a
rest.
lot of animals.
Yeah, so really, yeah, I think over 500.
Yes.
So it's just it's really a touching one, and it as it's personal to her as it is to the rest, likes of Nicarius and the rest that said they were going to donate. She's also come out to say, look, I'm already. She's already donated, but she's saying
Mm.
from this particular tournament, everything I get is going to go into the relief fund for the bushfires. Sad one. We really my heart and my thoughts
Mm.
are with the people of Australia, because I don't know how it would be just living with those conditions and watching that kind of destruction happen to your home. But I hope they do recover from it.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to Barcelona and what happened with between them and Espanyol. China's Wule strikes late as Espanyol hold 10-man Barcelona. So Barcelona were pegged back by La Liga's bottom club Espanyol on Saturday as Wule struck late to secure a dramatic 2-2 draw in a thrilling Catalan derby. The young sending off hurt us, said Barcelona coach Ernesto Valverde. We could have scored a third, and then in one play we conceded. We had the game under control. The red card unsettled us a little. And that's what their coach Valverde said. Barcelona remain top of the table, but only on goal difference. Their 2 point advantage removed after Real Madrid earlier clinched an impressive 3-0 win away at Getafe.
Yes, so the tough match for Real Madrid, the tough derby for Real Madrid became the easy one because they won their game by 3 goals to nil.
Mm.
But Getafe really did fall apart from the minute they conceded first after trying to score a couple of goals, and Courtois was having the best day of his life. For some reason, Courtois just seemed to elongate himself like like that man in Fantastic Four, and just stopped everything. It was an amazing display. And then after thwarting two goal scoring chances, then they go to the other end, and the Hetafe goalkeeper makes a mistake, and it's a goal for Varane. So I think from then on out, Real Madrid just completely dominated, and took all 3 points. So what was a tough match, or what seemed like it was going to be a tricky tie at the start of the weekend, ended up being the easy tie for them. On the other hand, with Barcelona, they haven't lost to Espanyol since 2009. Espanyol hasn't scored 2 goals against them since 2008. It just looked like it was going to be a walk in the park. And then they get to the game. They concede an early goal from a header. First of all, Neto was in goal and he wasn't tested, so he had no control. Himself and his defenders were still struggling to communicate what his real position was going to be, or what his real starting position was going to be. So it was tricky for them. But they considered the first goal and came out in the second half, played a completely different match, had a little bit of urgency, got 2 quick goals. Arturo Vidal coming off the bench to get the second one, and Luis Suarez was a fantastic Luis Suarez goal.
Mm.
Looked like it was flowing freely. Messi with a tricky, well, what would have been the pass of the century, because he took the ball from his half, dribbled a couple of defenders, and then passed the ball to Suarez, and then Luis Suarez kicked the ball directly to the goalkeeper. Could have been 3-1 at that time, and maybe a little more safer for them.
Mm.
Unfortunately, it wasn't. And then the young goes up and picks the red card. And there's some teams, I always say this, it is not necessarily a red card that causes a team to fall apart, as opposed as it is the nature of the team you're playing.
Okay.
So a team like Manchester City, like Arsenal, like Barcelona, teams that are primarily attack minded,
Mm.
it's a struggle for them to compose themselves and play with one man down, because they don't know how to defend for long periods of time. And so if they pick up a card, sometimes maybe with 8 or 5 minutes to go, it may be easier to defend. You pick up a card with 16 or 18 minutes to go, and it becomes a totally different kettle of fish for those teams, especially when they're playing a team that is tough for them. So yes, I've seen Arsenal come back and win a game with one man down, but they're playing against Bolton Wanderers in a time that, no, Bolton Wanderers used to be an Arsenal problem, but that day it was as if Arsenal woke up and said we are going to beat Bolton today. But it is not a regular occurrence. Same thing with the Manchester City side. It's not a regular occurrence for them to defend. So teams that are not primarily defensive will struggle when they lose one man. And Barcelona is one of those. And they couldn't seem to do anything. Messi had a very horrible day. They couldn't. He didn't show up at all. He had really ghost performances. One or two chances here, one or two passes here, but largely anonymous. Because even when the team was falling back, Messi was just strolling to the halfway line. Like, I'm not doing this manual labor with you put this here. so Barcelona was already one man down and now one man short because Messi wasn't going to defend. So from there it just went downhill for them, but Espanyol fought back, got the point they needed, and unfortunately for Barcelona, it took away their 2 point advantage that they had over Real Madrid. So we'll see how it turns out for the new from them. They're still going to go to Saudi Arabia to play in the Super Cup. So when they come back, I think they'll have to readjust for the La Liga, because it's been a struggle for them this season, and just when they thought they had breathing space, the gap closes again.
Well, Tohib is of the opinion that to him, Barcelona game yesterday was totally poor. Valverde just has to go. Are you still of that opinion, Tega?
Oh yes, always and forever. Valverde must go.
All right, Zlatan Ibrahimovic has vowed to kickstart struggling AC Milan's Serie A season as their local rivals Inter Milan recommence a title battle with Juventus this week after the end of the winter break. Now, Milan play host to Sampdoria on Monday, that's today. And according to the Ibrahimovic, who's 38-year-old, he was quoted as saying, "I'm ready and I really hope I can play. Things need to be improved on the pitch, and that's why I'm here. I know what I have to do." Zlatan is still here. Antonio Conte's Inter travel to Napoli, while Juve are at home against sixth-place Cagliari. The season surprise package, who are well in the hunt for Champions League football.
Yeah, the new year has started full time for the Italian Serie A. They all play today. Juventus, I think, is it 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock again? Like I said, I don't understand this time. It's not working for me. But sometime between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock, sit in front of your TV, you'll see the results. And then there's the big one, Inter Milan, Napoli. That's at night, so you can comfortably be at home and watch it. But this other one, you may watch with one eye because your boss don't say it's Tega that said you should watch. But the Italian Serie A is back in full swing, and it is good fixtures. I'd like to see Zlatan back, especially after the weekend it had. Again, the statue in front of Malmo. This time, they sawed off the leg of the statue fell and they carried it to get repaired. It's tricky for those that don't know. Zlatan bought some 25% stake in a rival team from Malmo, and so the Malmo fans have been upset since he bought a stake in that team, and they've been defacing and tattooing, but this time they were so upset they just cut off the leg. Now we are not here to play. So
That's extreme.
I'm telling you. So and that incident is still going on, but Zlatan I think is completely focused on trying to set up with AC Milan, because it was such a big news. Zlatan is back, the opening, the arrival, the tension, the wait. Oh yeah, today now, come and play. So when you start, when you're a larger than life personality like Zlatan Ibrahimovic, you don't want to come into AC Milan and just be anonymous.
Yeah.
You have to do something big. And so today is the day where he comes in. He'd already scored in a friendly, but that was a friendly. This is the time they need his goals. This is the reason they bought him, for a quick fix of the problems that they have where they are not scoring enough goals. So he's here to. He's going to be playing today. You can look out for him. But interesting for me would be that battle at the top between Juventus and Inter Milan, because Lazio just before it was first of all it was Juventus and Inter Milan. Then Lazio won yesterday to make it Juventus, Inter Milan, and Lazio. So it's a 3-horse race now, as opposed to a 2-horse race. That's equally tight. So let's see which way this one will swing.
All right. So Ugo is saying Messi having a horrible day. Messi anonymous. What happened now? Is he worried about US versus Iran? And then Biggie from Casey says, can't wait to see Ronaldo in action. Tega, I don't know which is bigger, Pride or Zlatan. Let's go
Zlatan.
Zlatan. Really? Let's touch on the PSG game as they cruise to a 6-0 win over 6th-tier side. PSG Paris Saint-Germain cruised to a 6-0 win over 6th-tier ESA Linas Monterrey in the French Cup, and their opponents were understandably starstruck. The amateur club's players are almost entirely die-hard PSG fans, and the draw handed them a once-in-a-lifetime chance to face some of their heroes.
Yes, think about it. The
so
coach
funny.
is a lifetime ticket of PSG, ticket holder of PSG. No, that's it. Think of a season ticket holder of PSG coming to play against PSG. What does he want to coach? What tactics does he want to
Is he
put on
even
the
allowed
table?
to have a season ticket to another club?
No, why you not? If not, shit, money don't smell. Bring your money, we give you tickets. That's it.
Wow.
So, end of discussions.
I'm not saying his own employers. Shouldn't they feel like it's
No, he was supporting the club before. He was supporting the club. It's not before they employed him. And if they fire him tomorrow, he will conveniently support the club. The soldier come, soldier go. I can't even be. I like the guy. But what it is that okay. So this is the French Cup, and at the end of the day, every team in the French divisions come to play. So this is a 6th-tier side, remember. And you're going to be drawn against anybody. Okay, think for those of you that don't watch football outside England, think the FA Cup and how sometimes a Premier League Cup is drawn against one 3rd division, 4th division team like that. This team even had a plumber and a pharmacist playing.
Nice.
so yeah, a plumber and a pharmacist, literally you can tell how where they are, and it is understandable that they were outspoken about their support for PSG, because on a normal day after they finish their pharmacy job they will be watching PSG and cheering for them. So to play against them, I understand 6-0 is actually a good scoreline, because if you don't have full-time professionals playing in the fact that you can withstand a PSG side,
Just speaks for you. It speaks
and only take 6.
Take a 6.
They could have taken 12.
They could even take.
But we've been here. People have taken 27. Yes. So 6 with the opportunity to come to even if PSG did use their second string PSG still
At
So
least
it wasn't even their first team. So that I spelled the name for them.
with that one, you'll be confident enough to walk into the post-match conference and just sit down.
Well, we lost 6-0, but we just
to
like to
PSG. You just keep saying PSG prior to Paris Saint-Germain.
You know, this happened before. It's okay. We have to take a break though, PSG.
Okay. So I totally forgot that this morning radio, and I said shit money don't smell.
I heard you. That's why we're laughing out loud.
Sorry, I've forgotten to do my job. It's a new year.
I was like, no, it didn't sound like it. They will not know it was what you were saying.
I've really forgotten how to do my job. Oh, I couldn't even before that.
Some people club like talking drum, man. Look who they talk. You went and beat your club last week like said they be thief.
Coca-Cola.
Ask yourself, you don't ready for banter? Abi you want make your club carry last? Oh yeah, time still day. Waka enter shop, buy cheap bottle of Coca-Cola, take hold your side. Make you day fresh to banter better. Banter better with Coca-Cola, official soft drink partner of the English Premier League.
Coming in as a trailer, he is in fifth.
Going on
Is
now?
he close enough? Is he close enough? Yes. Here comes the
Studio is
Should
live.
be fun.
Yes.
Look out for
Premier League. Banter better with Coca-Cola.
You know what it is, what time it is. It's when you add the hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola to every message you send to us on WhatsApp 0809 444 or on Twitter.
And on
Twitter.
on Twitter, it's at Smooth981FM. Use the hashtag freshly pressed. Did I say freshly
Yep,
pressed?
you
No,
did.
not pressing anything. We're actually in the locker room 981.
And
on
hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola.
On YouTube, we're streaming live. If you want to use the live chat option, you still have to use the hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. On YouTube, it's Smooth981.
All right, so what that means is you should keep your comments clear of any vulgar or insulting words. Please, let's be civil in our conversations, but have fun at it while we're on it, right?
Yep.
Carlo Ancelotti confronts Everton players after FA Cup exit to youthful Liverpool. In his words, Ancelotti was quoted after slipping to back-to-back defeat for the first time as Everton boss as saying, quote, "I am not used to speaking to the players after the game, but I am going to speak to them about this. I think in the second half, we were not able to keep the right ideas on the pitch as we did in the first half when we had the opportunity to score. The fact we didn't score in the first half affected the performance in the second, which was not good enough."
Yes, I mean, as soon as Everton started missing those chances, I was like, they are going to lose this game. It wasn't. I mean,
It
chances.
was that obvious.
Yeah, it was. It was too many one-on-one and clear-cut chances that they had that they didn't score. And sometimes when a team has that over and over again, the longer the game goes on, the harder it becomes for them to win that game. My logic. Don't go and apply it to every situation in your life. You are totally on your own. But you can tell sometimes when a team is struggling like that. And then for if Everton to play most of the first team players with Liverpool's second team players, it didn't make any sense. 18, 19-year-olds, people that you did not know their names before, just coming on play and scoring against your team. It makes it even harder, the fact that they did use, I mean, largely teenagers, and you used your first team and you still lost to them in a derby. That's a totally different level of that's I beat you, then I sent my younger brother to beat you, and he did for good measure. So it's not it's not something you can play about with. So yes, I understand Carlo Ancelotti. Usually he's a very casual, laid back guy, but I understand him coming out and bringing dry at his guys at the end of the game, because it wasn't a good performance by all of them. But for Liverpool, everything, like I said, it seems to be going. Once you get those wins under your belt, there's a level of confidence that trickles down to even the person serving tea in the club would be confidently serving very nice tea. All of a sudden, everything just works better and tastes better. And I think they are in that zone right now. So even their junior teams are playing excellent football. Let's see how long it lasts and how well they go with this.
All right, brilliant. This is a good way to start the hashtag banter better Coca-Cola. So this is on Big T. Big T says PSG beat a lower division team 6-0. The coach was like, yes, we lost by 6 goals, but at least we got 11 autographs.
Nice one.
That's nice.
Let's go on.
Well, hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. We have more messages though. Chimobi Victor says this PSG just shows how wicked they are. While for Carlo Ancelotti, you should leave all his campaign after election, because myself and Tega, we don't need it. Hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola.
All right, and then Micah, all the way from Ogun State, says hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. There is ambition in football, there's tactics in football, there's quality in football, there's determination in football, there's luck in football, there's passion in football, there's maturity in football. How come Manchester United don't have any? And there was silence. All right, let's let them catch you. And let's move on to our next story here. Hurricane injury. Jose Mourinho confirms hamstring injury is serious. Last edition, you spoke about him walking out. You said you were wondering how serious it was going to be. Well, Mourinho said, I think it is better for the medical department to speak about it or make an official report. The only thing that I can add is that the feelings I had that it was not a small injury were correct. It is not a small injury, but I cannot speak about recovery time.
Yes, he's not a doctor. That's what he's saying. People should not ask me any question. I'm in severe pains, especially after the fact that they drew their game in the FA Cup to have now an extra game, which is what he doesn't need. He doesn't need these extra games now when he needs to be focusing on trying to get up higher in the EPL table or see how far he can go in Europe. And so this is an unfortunate distraction. Again, his team considered a cheap goal from Middlesbrough. It was a good goal, but it was still cheap.
Yeah.
And they scored a goal and then they struggled from then on out. And now you're telling him that he doesn't have his star striker. He's not in the mood to answer any medical questions. He doesn't want to answer coaching questions, not talk of medical questions. And you would say that with a guy like Lucas Moura that's raring to go, Lucas Moura could have done more yesterday apart from just the equalizer he scored. He could have scored more goals. And he also has Son that can give a couple of goals and maybe Dele Alli on his good day. But again, those are makeshift strikers or makeshift forwards. It's not the kind of forwards he likes to play with. There are people that will play with false nine. There's some people that will play with other forwards that can drop deep. People like Jose Mourinho, they like to have that out and out striker, that outlet up front, that person that is tall, has a physical presence and can score with every legal part of his body. And that's Harry Kane, and that's what he wants. So asking him questions after he had a 1-0 job with Middlesbrough and has an extra game and is struggling to make a big impact, especially defensively, it's not going to give you any real answers. But what it is that Harry Kane will be out for a while and it's not 2 weeks. That's basically what he's trying to say. That it's not a hamstring of put ice on it and he'll be back. He'll be back on the pitch. Yeah, it's not.
All right, so we have from James in Marine Beach who says everything seem too scared of Liverpool these days. It's a shame they lost to this youth team. Hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola.
All right. We have more stories to go through. Now, this next one is Pep Guardiola. He said it'll be quite similar, and he was speaking about his expecting similar Manchester United tactics in Carabao Cup to Premier League meeting. He said it'll be quite similar. Of course, at Old Trafford, it'll be quite different to here. But they're a team that are built to run. I have the feeling they're going to run 1 or 2 or 3 times, or as many times as possible. And we have to reduce the mistakes in the build-up. We have to be prepared for that, but we have to do our game.
Okay, I would say this for him. He's probably sat back to watch a few tapes of the Manchester United game, and he's thinking, okay, maybe my guys didn't do well enough, because yes, Manchester United did defeat Manchester City in that derby, but perhaps there could have been more Manchester City could have done.
Yes.
And he's right about it. Manchester United, they like to run. It's like, because they're young boys and they just put them on the pitch and they say, see space. You know how when you put children and there's space, they'll just be running. That's how Manchester United boys like to run. They can run at you all day. Sometimes they create chances and score. Sometimes they do not. But what happens is that they make you run for the 95 minutes or 94 minutes that they're playing on the pitch. And your team has to keep running constantly. So Manchester City is not ready to suffer the defeat they suffered in the EPL, and the cup is right here. So this is the semi-final. The cup is looking at them right there. So it's not like it's a distant thing, or it's a long, tournament like the EPL.
Yes.
It is a tournament that the cup is right in front of you.
Yeah.
Manchester United can give all to get those that one trophy. Because let me tell you, at the end of the day, if they count how many trophies are in your wardrobe at the end of the season, they will not remember how many times you lost to Sheffield. So at the end of the day, this is one that the trophy is right at the end of it, and Manchester United could put their back into it. And Manchester City do not want to be the ones on the losing end.
Yeah.
So yeah, Pep Guardiola is right. The players, all them, James, what's the name of the young one? Greenwood, Rashford, that like to run. He knows that his defenders, like Otamendi, Fernandinho, that forgot how to run, they are going to be in trouble.
It's a track and field.
It's a track and field event, yes. And unfortunately for him, I mean, thinking about Pep Guardiola coming out to say that he's done all for John Stones to be a good defender, it is now left to John Stones. Do you know what that means? That means I'm giving up on you. Your own is finished. I cannot help you. This must be from your family people. And so it is, he's already saying, indicating that he has troubles with his defenders. And so he is worried about the pace of Manchester United's youth, especially up front. And that's what he's going to have to defend against. But he can't defend that with just his backline. His defense has to start from his midfield. And I am afraid his midfield is not solid enough to play when they are not with the ball. They have a problem taking up good positions and closing up spaces or closing down people when they are not with the ball. So him understanding that Manchester United is going to run doesn't necessarily mean that he's prepared to stop them or he has a solution. The fact that he knows Sha just means at least he has identified one problem.
Yes.
And we wait to see if you solve it tonight. Sorry, tomorrow night. It's
night.
actually tomorrow night. Yeah.
All right. So, Emeka Onelum says, I saw part of the Liverpool versus Everton game yesterday. I couldn't believe Everton actually paid Phil Walcott money to play football. I just hope Everton don't sue Arsenal for scamming them. Aside his football, I think the only thing that has improved in Walcott after he left Arsenal is his looks. I love his hair and well-trimmed beards.
Wow,
Hashtag banter better Coca-Cola.
Yeah, we're checking him out.
At least you like something about
At
him.
least you like something about him.
James from R&B says, please, Tega, you guys should do a pre-Arsenal FA Cup game talk tonight. I know Tega won't want us to win, but we will.
We will win.
Hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola.
We will win. Tega, what's your prediction for tonight?
No, I'm not doing that.
It's
It's not happening.
I know.
Shies away from it.
Big T says hashtag banter better Coca-Cola. Tega, you're making it sound as if Manchester United is now a kiddies club that runs around.
Before.
Please don't hang out in any pubs this week for security reasons. Okay, let's go to Mikel Arteta, who hopes FA Cup glory can get Arsenal addicted to winning. I think winning brings togetherness, and when you have beautiful experiences together and you win trophies, I'll repeat that, and you win trophies, those experiences stay within that group, Arteta said.
It's like what's happening with Liverpool right now. They've been growing and all of a sudden they've started winning trophies, and for some reason they can't stop. And you can see the togetherness in the team. Like I said, it's not just about the players, the starting 11, it trickles all the way down. And there's something about winning and winning together that brings a bigger bond and a feel-good factor generally around the club.
Yeah.
So Mikel Arteta will be hoping that tonight's game would start at least some victory in the cup competitions will help them in the Premier League. So he's hoping that tonight's game they could win it and it could continue a winning trend for them to build more confidence and bring more victories to Arsenal. But first of all, he has to win tonight's game. And remembering that Manchester United drew their game against Wolves, Tottenham drew their game against Middlesbrough, Watford got knocked out by Tranmere. That one was not even a negotiation. They knocked them out completely. 3-1, red card, goodbye and God bless you. And so anything can happen in the FA Cup. And so first of all, Mikel Arteta has to win this game. After winning this game, he can now say, okay, we've had 2 wins back to back. Let's see how we can continue the trend.
But how do you know we're winning the FA Cup though? All right. So Ayo is asking, Ayo, you're an Arsenal fan again. That's hashtag banter better Coca-Cola.
I take that as a rhetorical question.
Why?
Because you are.
No, I'm
On
in
days that you
between.
feel like
yes,
it.
I am.
6 months now.
I'm standing for my husband and
Months now.
months now.
Yamat from Agege says Harry Kane cannot be playing this game if it's not about injury. Okay. Hashtag Manta Better Coca-Cola. Thank you very much for your messages, and thank you, Tega. You can catch up with all the activities of the ladies in sports in Nigeria. It's quite interesting. You want to pitch in, check out Twitter at LIS International, or just you want to message Tega on Twitter, just message at Tega Supreme. In the meantime, thank you to our YouTube fans and everybody
Thank
who's
you,
joining in
guys.
from every part of the world. We appreciate you. Please download our app. Next, we get to talk at the top of the app.
Enjoy.